and self-sacrifice cannot be of any use in bringing about the welfare of their country by any other way than by acts of downheadedness. The real and lasting means of stopping bombs consist in beginning to grant the important rights of Swarajya to the people.
True, sir.
Given the immense popularity of Lokmanya Tilak, the British knew that they could not mete out unjust punishment to him, as there would be severe protests. However, something had to be done. The idea to hold the trial seemed brilliant at the time, but in hindsight was a grave political blunder.
Excuse me, sir. Come in, Captain.
At ease.
So, now that the culprits have been caught, has the crime been resolved?
Not quite, Captain. You see, as long as this Tilak chap continues to write, we have ourselves a problem. He's openly supported that sick act in Muzaffarpur, and the people have responded with support to it. Hear this. The British rule in India is entirely based on self-interest, so long as it is bound by the necessity of avoiding exasperating the people of this country. Such power must be taken out of their hands and put into our own hands. The hands of the natives. That, I say, is gross disloyalty towards the government of India and to Great Britain. It's preposterous! He's like a father figure to that motley crew of savages. The father of the unrest. Yes, that is what he is.
Very clever, sir.
And after all that we have done for these people, we've built this wretched country. We gave them our men, our technology, our support. We try and civilize them, and this is how they repay us? By killing our daughters and our wives and parading around as if it's some great achievement. Carriage bombings are the least of our concerns. Soon, there'll be offices, barracks, God forbid, government headquarters burning tomorrow. And the flames will spread because of articles like these. This has to stop now!
So, what do we do now, sir?
Personally, I'd love nothing better than to wring that man's neck until his body stopped kicking, and I'd have him! But we can't do that now, can we, Captain? We have our laws and our rules to follow. And that is what separates us from these animals. Civility. We need legal opinion on this matter, and on what grounds we can restrain this Tilak chap from writing any more of this nonsense. Send for the Advocate General. No doubt he's already read this rubbish and has choice words to express himself. Dismiss, Captain.
Yes, sir.
I must go tend to that Khudiram Bose chap. Teach him some proper British discipline.
After 8 days, the fate of Lokmanya Tilak was sealed. But he certainly did not go down without a fight. Through his words, he exposed the high-handedness of the British government. While justice, as the Britishers apparently saw fit, was administered, Lokmanya Tilak was successful in revealing the intentions of the British, that of preventing India from gaining true liberty.
Mr. Joshi, the translations, are they your piece of work?
They are the High Court translations.
What about their validity? Are they credible enough?
The originals are not here presently, but these are as authentic as the original ones.
As authentic as the original ones. Mr. Joshi, have you made comparisons with the original? Or rather, do they differ in any way?
Yes, I have. They have a minor difference, but they shall serve the purpose of the proceeding.
Have you compared all of them, Mr. Joshi?
Apart from one, yes, I have.
And which one was that?
Your Lordship, the one on 26th of May, 1908. Rest I have done, no doubt.
For that matter, translate Goriastria.
It means innocent European ladies.
Innocent European ladies. See for yourself, Mr. Joshi. In the official translation, the word Goria is used. If I am not wrong, it can be translated in other ways as well. Can it not also mean a perfectly innocuous statement regarding complexion and color? Then how far can you justify the validity of your translation, Mr. Joshi?
I did not understand this.
But according to you,
Mr. Tilak, you are wasting this court's time in such futile an argument. Perhaps I should bring to your knowledge that this court is perfectly convinced about the errand and about the competence of the translator, and his work is found competitive enough to be presented in this court.
I beg to differ, Your Lordship. I find this very translation in the court by the witness absolutely incompetent. The due process of the court seems something like this. Get the articles translated and then realize, what if you don't understand the language? That would be no hindrance. A few innuendos thrown with a couple of poor and distorted translations would be just and fair. I ask your lordship to step into my shoes and then behold this proceeding. And perhaps then his views would begin to coincide with mine, and he will begin to understand my reservations about the same. And if that is not enough, what would the court say of a translation where even by a common everyday Marathi proverb of calling a rope a snake, similar to giving the dog a bad name and then hanging him, is deemed to be offensive against the government? If the court did not get the meaning of the proverb, then let me explain. It means considering an innocent man as a guilty one. The snake, as has been wrongly translated, does not stand for government. I would like to advise the court, or for that matter the Crown, to avoid drawing inferences of text which they fail to understand the word kin, to add to the grandeur and grave seriousness of the translation, I am sure. And with so many exaggerations present in this deemed accurate translation, am I here to rectify or to find out each and every mistake present in it? Certainly not, for it is not my errand, and neither am I called here for the correction of the High Court translations, and that too free of charge. Another point which I would like to put forth before this honorable court is the difficulty in ascertaining the feelings of the Marathi community. For the words, phrases and articles in the Kesari were read by the Marathi community only, and to have the inclusion of the state of mind of the European community, or for that matter, any other community, would be absolutely baseless. It is undoubtedly important to ascertain the feelings of the Marathi community and to know whether these words, phrases and articles in the Kesari have had any evil effect on their minds. And if at all this is the case, then only are they seditious, but otherwise they are not. Thank you, Your Lordship.
Mr. Branson?
Your Lordship, gentlemen of the jury, I will try to keep myself as brief as possible and avoid Mr. Tilak's mistake of continuously repeating myself ad nauseum. Mr. Tilak knows the law, but his entire grueling reply over the past few days has been nothing but an exercise in redundancy and a waste of time. Let us keep ourselves free of politics and instead talk of only law. Primary legal issue in this case is one of intention. For the sake of argument, let us assume that Mr. Tilak's assertion that reforms are necessary is a valid one. Let us also assume that what he said of this government having acted improperly is also correct. Gentlemen, for the sake of determining intention, these assumptions are wholly and utterly irrelevant. What is relevant is whether the language used in these articles attracts the attention of section 124A of the Indian Penal Code. Mr. Tilak is rather absurdly propositioning that one can plead or prove the truth of language charged with sedition. Again, this is completely incorrect. And here I have Justice Strachey and the Privy Council's decision, wherein it was held that the truth of language charged with sedition cannot be pleaded or proved. Gentlemen, let me spare you the endless suffering you have endured under Mr. Tilak's speeches and make my point by answering two questions. Firstly, did he print and publish the articles complained of, and was he responsible for them? The answer, by his own admittance, is yes. His declaration states that he was the printer, publisher and editor of the Kesari newspaper. This goes to prove, without a shadow of doubt, that he was indeed liable for the content of everything which appeared in that paper at that time, whether written by him or not. Simple. The next question pertains to the thoughts, words and meanings of the articles. Mr. Tilak has been trying to fool you by confusing and misleading you regarding their so-called true meaning. He cannot say, I wrote sedition, but meant affection. Therefore, what you have to take into consideration is the language actually present in the articles, not the meanings he's trying to make you believe he intended. He says you are the guardians of the press. Fiddlesticks! With God as your witness, you are the guardians of the penal code, and the penal code protects the press, not you. You need not take my word for it. Refer to Justice Strachey, Justice Batty, Sir Lawrence Jenkins. Check the Indian law reports. A person may use language of the utmost violence, provided he does not excite or attempt to excite hatred against this government. Within this reasonable limit, one may comment upon the measures of the government in whatever language one sees fit, yet remain protected under law. What greater freedom of press could you possibly want? Again, Mr. Tilak is also rather foolishly propositioning that the burden of proof has wrongly been placed upon him. Again, it is a settled legal principle that once a prima facie case has been made, the burden of proof to clear the charge lies on the defense. In this case, the Oriental translator has testified that all the translations are accurate, bar one. You cannot merely take Mr. Tilak's word that the translations are inaccurate. He has not produced a shred of hard evidence in this court to prove that the English translations are not accurate representations of their